Revelation is not a horror story. It is not a puzzle meant to terrify. And it is not a codebook designed to confuse believers. Revelation is an unveiling, a pulling back of the curtain, a moment where heaven allows earth to see what is really happening behind history. And yet no book in the Bible has stirred more fear, speculation, debate, and fascination than this one. Because Revelation does not speak in simple sentences. It speaks in visions, in symbols, in numbers, beasts, trumpets, bowls, and cosmic signs. And the question that echoes across churches, classrooms, comment sections, and millions of YouTube views is this: what is literal and what is symbolic? Before a single beast rises, before a single seal is broken, before judgment shakes the earth. Revelation shows us Jesus, not the suffering servant in humility, but the risen, reigning Christ, eyes like fire, voice like rushing waters, standing among his people. Because Revelation is not centered on the Antichrist. It is centered on Christ. And everything else, every symbol, every vision, every mystery flows from that truth. To understand Revelation, we must remember who it was written for. Believers under pressure, believers under persecution, believers living under an empire that demanded worship, loyalty, and silence. John writes in symbols not to confuse them, but to protect them, and to strengthen them. When Revelation speaks of beasts, it is not simply describing monsters. It is exposing systems of power, kingdoms that demand allegiance, governments, cultures, and authorities that oppose God while pretending to offer security. To ancient readers, this was clear. A beast was not fantasy. It was empire. It was oppression. It was power without mercy. That is why the beast blasphemes, why it deceives, why it demands worship. Because Revelation is revealing a pattern, not just an event. And patterns are more dangerous than predictions. Then come the numbers. 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 bowls, 7. The number of completeness. The number of divine fullness. These are not random disasters. They are not chaos spiraling out of control. They are controlled, measured, intentional. Revelation is not telling us the world is falling apart. It is telling us the world is being held accountable. Each cycle repeats the message with increasing intensity: evil has limits, injustice has an end date, and God has not lost control. This is where many interpretations go wrong. When symbols meant to inspire endurance are turned into timelines meant to provoke fear. Revelation was never meant to create panic. It was meant to produce faithfulness. That is why judgment scenes are repeatedly interrupted by worship scenes. While the earth trembles, heaven sings. While nations rage, the throne remains unshaken. This is not accidental, it is intentional. Revelation shows us that no matter how loud chaos becomes, heaven is calm. And this calm terrifies evil. Earthquakes, fire, darkness, cosmic signs. To modern ears, these sound like disaster reports. But to ancient believers, they were familiar prophetic language symbols that God was stepping in, interrupting injustice, shaking false security. God is not delighting in destruction. He is confronting what destroys. And then comes one of the most misunderstood symbols of all, the mark of the beast, so often reduced to technology, numbers, or speculation. But at its core, the mark is about allegiance. Who do you belong to? Who shapes your identity? Who receives your loyalty when obedience costs you something? In contrast stands the seal of God, not hidden, not fearful, but visible in faithfulness. Revelation is drawing a line not between smart and uninformed, but between compromise and conviction. And at the center of it all stands the Lamb. Not a warrior soaked in blood, but a lamb who was slain. This is the great reversal of Revelation. Victory does not come through domination. It comes through sacrifice, through obedience. And in the end, the story does not conclude with escape, but with restoration. A city descending, God dwelling with his people. Tears wiped away, death undone, creation healed. The final word of Revelation is not fear, it is hope. Not confusion, but clarity. Not defeat, but victory. Revelation does not ask us to calculate dates. It asks us to live ready, to pray, to remain holy, to refuse compromise, to worship God alone. Because history is not random, evil is not eternal, and suffering is not the end. Jesus reigns, and because he reigns, hope remains. Faithfulness matters, and the future is secure. Hope, faithfulness, Jesus reigns.